Prynhawn da and croeso pawb, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. I'm thrilled that we were able to hold this event. We're able to do these transition events, even though it's virtual and it's all a bit strange. And I'm really, really pleased that with me, I have Alexa and Stella, who were very recently at Thornwell themselves. So they are absolutely the best people to be answering all of your questions that you may have. Anything to do with secondary school and what Chepstow School is like and what the teachers are like and how am I going to find my way around and what's the food like and all of those questions that you might have. Please remember, no question is too silly. OK, that's number one. If it's something that you are worried about or you are curious about, I can almost guarantee you that somebody else will be curious about it as well. So please ask. We've got our specific transition email address. So it's just transition@chepstowschool.net. And we've got our specific transition Twitter as well. So we've got at primary transit 1. And that any questions that you have about transition or anything at all, please send them that way. So I'm going to hand you over now to Mrs. Mellon, our assistant head, who's going to present our afternoon session today, and a huge thank you to Alexa and to Stella for being here with us and talking to you. So over to you, Mrs. Mellon.
Oh, thank you, diolch yn fawr. Prynhawn da, students, Year 6 students at Thornwell. What a fantastic school, and thank you so much for coming and joining us in our live event. We wanted to do this because feedback from a lot of students is that obviously in the current climate, sometimes it's just nice to have that face-to-face interaction and for you to be able to answer any questions that you've got. And as Miss Miller has just explained, we're really lucky that we've got some of your former students with us, Alexa and Stella, who are going to be answering any of your questions that you've got, but also just explaining a little bit and giving you some feedback about what their experience of Chepstow School has been like so far. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. I'm going to ask the girls just to talk to you very briefly, just while we wait for your questions to come in. And one of the most sort of asked questions really is how your first year has been, because this year has been such an unusual year. So I'm going to go straight over to Alexa first of all. So Alexa, could you just describe what your first year has been like at Chepstow?
My first year at Chepstow was I was very nervous.
Keep going, love, it's okay, we can still hear you.
I was very nervous because I didn't know my way around, I didn't know anybody, and I really only spent time with people I knew. So being in classes and being put next to each other and having to, once you leave classrooms, have to clean like desktops and stuff, it was a safety measure for all of us that we had to do, and it was very vital.
Yeah, and unusual, I'm sure, quite an unusual set of circumstances, really. So what about in terms of, Alexa, your experiences with remote learning? How have you found that? Because obviously you weren't physically in school for too long before we had to go into another lockdown again. So how have your experiences of lessons been?
My experience with lessons were very fun at the beginning because it was very new and we hadn't done it before. And as we started doing more, it's got a bit stressful as we had a lot more work to do, a bit less time to do them, but we were able to get them done.
Brilliant.
With teachers as well.
And have your teachers been supportive in that? Do you think your teachers have listened to your feedback about your feelings about remote learning?
The teachers have definitely been listening to our queries and worries, because say we didn't finish something, we could always ask them if we could do it tomorrow or the next day. Okay,
that's brilliant. Thank you. What about you, Stella? What's your first year been like, if you could sum up your first year at Chepstow?
Turn your mic off. Yeah, that's it.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster. So at the start of the year, we all got to know each other and everything, and then we had to go into another lockdown, which meant not being able to see each other. Some of us can't actually talk to each other properly unless it's on the phone or something, and we're not getting much social interaction anymore.
Yeah.
Like with friends, seeing them, and well, everything is amazing, obviously. Yeah, and the work, we get to go to the next day for something if we are overdue on it. With the teachers, we just have to ask them, and they're fine with it because they know how stressful it all is at the moment of time.
Yeah, so if I can go on to teachers then, because we've sort of got naturally, if you like, gone on to what our lessons are like and what our teachers are like. So you said that teachers have been supportive. How have they supported you, Stella, do you think, through your learning this year?
Well, they understand that obviously at this time it's a bit worrying and anxious of what's going on, and we don't really know what's happening next, and they obviously they know that as well. So they're supportive of our speed of our work and of how we're getting things done and everything, because you never know, some people have to look after other people at home. So
Yeah.
have to overdo their work a bit. And
brilliant.
They're supportive about that.
Do you because obviously just before we came on live, I was really impressed with your artwork that you just showed me. Do you think you're making good progress, even though we're not physically in school at the moment?
Yeah. So with my art, I practice at home a lot. That's what I love to do in my spare time. And other people might like doing English in their spare time or writing in their spare time, like Alexa does. And then some people might like doing maths in their spare time, meaning if they do that in their spare time, they're progressing on their own.
Okay. Would you mind, I'm going to really embarrass you now, so would you mind sharing your picture that you brought in? Because I think in terms of skills and art skills, I think you've progressed brilliantly, personally. So I am embarrassing you now, I'm sure. But would you hold that up to the camera so that some of your old schoolmates can see some of the progress that you're making? How about that, everyone? I can't draw like that. I've got stick men. That's about as far as I can draw. Thank you, Stella. That's brilliant. Alexa, talk to us about the progress you think you're making.
I think I'm making a lot of progress, considering I've been getting better at my maths and English. I've been getting better at making food. I've been making food a lot lately.
That's fantastic. Brilliant. So when we were able to be in girls, how did we find our way around? Because one of the things that most year sixes say they're most anxious about is getting lost. So how did you practice finding your way around when you were physically able to be in the building? Alexa, do you remember some of the activities that you participated in to do that?
Yeah, I think the first couple of days we had it wasn't a treasure hunt. It was we got to walk around the school and try to find different rooms, and we explored everywhere. It was really fun because we had to go in groups and talk to each other and learn about each other.
That's fantastic, brilliant. And Stella, did you get lost a lot, or did you manage to find your way around quite easily?
Well, sometimes I did get lost, but as Alexa said, we did the treasure hunt thing at the start of the year, which helped me quite a bit. And then obviously if you get a bit lost, there's teachers there to help you when you need it. So if you ask a teacher where NA3 is, they'll tell you where it is, and they can help you of where to go, and they're very helpful with that. And all the students also help you a lot with it. If you ask them where something is, they'll reply nicely and tell you where to go and everything.
Brilliant. So did that reassure you that you felt like you were in a nice, safe school community? Yeah, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. Okay, and then the final sort of question that came in earlier was about making friends, because obviously you've come from Thornwell, and with lovely Miss Perrott teaching you and keeping you all to herself, but obviously you've had to widen that net now. Do you feel like you've made lots of new friends, Stella?
Yeah, before everything like lockdown and all started, so a few schools actually met up, including mine, to go see each other, make new friends and everything before we went into school. And then with forms and classes, it helps a lot, because then you obviously talk to them because they're in your class or your form, and you get a stronger bond with more people.
What about you, Lex?
I think the teachers also help with it, because they put us all in different places, so we weren't next to someone that we knew.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Gil. So we do have a couple of questions coming in from some of your Thornwell students. Okay, and the first one is about uniform. Okay, was the uniform hard to get used to when you were in? Alexa, what did you think, or was that quite simple?
It wasn't that hard to get used to. You just had to find the right uniform that fit you, and then it was very comfortable, and all the blazers fit. You could take them off whenever you wanted. They weren't too tight.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad.
Okay. Do you like the uniform, Alexa?
Oh, I love it. I used to keep it on
Amazing. And then obviously we've got lots of eaters. The most important question is about the canteen food. So Stella, what do you make of Delphine, our wonderful canteen head chef, and our school canteen?
Food's great. There's nothing to complain about it, to be honest. It's all amazing. You get like different varieties. If you're feeling like having a sandwich one day, there's something cooked like pretty much always, and then there's just loads of varieties of food.
Wonderful, and we are really lucky. Everyone that ever comes to visit our school always enjoys the food that our wonderful canteen staff prepare for us and our students every day. That's brilliant. So we do have another question. I'm going to ask Miss Miller now, because this is a question about form tutors, because we know we have lots of different teachers for different subjects, but there are sort of two questions in one here. The one is about what is a form tutor, what's the role of a form tutor, and then secondly, when I'm in my form, will I be with my friends?
Okay, thanks, Miss. Both really sensible questions, and questions that we get year on year, so people always want to know. So first of all, the role of a form tutor, and I'm sure the girls will talk about this in a minute. The form tutor is your first point of call. So where you are now in Thornwell with Mrs. Perrott, that's she is the person that you go to, I'm sure, with all your questions or your worries or your issues or concerns, or to share good news. You've just won some gymnastics medal or what have you. It would be Mrs. Perrott. So when you come up to us, you will all be in your own forms. We'll have 5 forms across the year group. And your form tutor, you will quickly get to know, is the person that you go to with all of those issues. So you spend 20 minutes with them at the beginning of every day, and you, in that 20 minutes, it's a chance to chat, it's a chance to get, ask how each other are doing, get to know each other, but also we run our PSHE sessions in those 20 minutes as well. So it's learning about the world, it's your personal, social and health education, it's learning about the environment, it's learning about different religions. It's a really important time at the beginning of every day, just to kind of feel really grounded, prepare yourself for the day, and also to be learning with your form group, so not necessarily in a lesson. So for you as pupils and for your folks at home, your parents and carers, your form tutor is going to be the first person that you go to. It's going to be the person that you say, oh, I've lost my pencil case, or I've forgotten my lunch money, or what have you. So we have been really, it's really important to us that we have been running our form sessions during this lockdown as well. So girls, how have you found the form sessions whilst lockdown, whilst we've been doing our blended learning? Alexa, have you been going to your online form, or?
Yeah, I've been going to online forms. Some days I miss it, but some days I join.
Fantastic. And what kind of, has it been nice to be able to see everybody in your form during online form?
Oh, definitely, because then you get to see someone instead of just being alone for like an hour. That's
fantastic. That's lovely. And it keeps you in touch with everyone in your form then, doesn't it? Yeah, lovely. And Stella, can you cast your mind back to when we were in school? How important was your form tutors? Were you going to them, every day and asking them questions and things?
Yeah, my form tutor is Dr. Perkins. You'll get to know him. He's really, really nice.
Lovely.
And basically, he's always there if you need him. Sometimes he shares these stories about them, and they're really funny stories and good stories.
He is very, very good at telling stories. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Alexa. And then just finally, your last bit of question, Miss, will you be with your friends? If there's someone that you want to come up with from Thornwell, everyone's worried, but if you're particularly worried about something and you just think, oh, it would be really lovely to be with that friend, please get whoever your adult is at home to send an email, transition@chepstowschool.net, and explain who you are and who you'd like to be in a form with. And Mrs. Mellon and I will do everything we possibly can to facilitate that. Obviously, we can't promise anything, but everything we can do, we will do, because if being with one special buddy is going to help you out, then we will try our very best to do that.
Thank you, Miss Miller. That's fantastic. So lots of questions coming in thick and fast. This is a great question, actually. So this is about, will we have a proper transition? And it's quite interesting because Alexa and Stella didn't have a proper transition this year. We had to do things really differently with a series of Chapsto challenges, and we set work online, and you shared all of your talents with us on Twitter. And then when Alexa and Stella came up with the rest of the year group, we gave them 2 whole days just by themselves, just year 7, to help them settle in, to feel at home and to feel comfortable. So the plan is that we will have a proper transition. I'm going to ask Miss Miller just to explain what that might look like for you, hopefully with everything crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. So with everything crossed, we have it planned for that first week of July. And really, it's a chance for us to get to know you, for you to get to know us, and for you to get to know the site and the building, and hopefully the place that you'll spend the next maybe 7 years. So it will be a whole range of things. Alexa talked earlier about doing a scavenger hunt. Finding your way around the site is obviously hugely important to you. You want to be able to know where you're going. You want to get to lessons on time. So we do a scavenger hunt. You kind of get used to what's where and where do you go at what time of day. We spend a lot of time, and we did this again with Stella and Alexa, looking at a school timetable. Excuse me, because for you, you might never have seen a school timetable before because you're with Mrs. Perrott, for most of the day. So we look at how to make sense of that piece, really vital piece of information. We do a lot of work on building those new friendships with each other. So you might be in a form group with someone else from Thornwell, particularly if you've asked, but it might be that you're in in your form, you'll have people from the Dell, people from Pembroke. There might be people, in fact, we do definitely have people that came up with Alexa and Stella, and people in year 6 coming up now. They are the only people from their primary school coming up, so we've really got to make sure that everyone has that opportunity to make friends and get to know each other. So we do a lot of kind of team building exercises, and spend a lot of time making sure that you all feel settled and happy. We visit all the other subjects around the school. You might have little taster lessons. This is what English will look like. This is what science and Welsh and drama and music and all of those subjects, to find out what they will all look like. We make sure that all the super important people in the school, where reception is and the school nurse and where to go and wait for the buses and all that kind of thing. So we really do everything we can to make sure that you are super excited about coming up in September. We don't want anything to be left so that you worry about it over the summer. That's the whole point of transition, is to make sure that you will feel super excited about coming up.
Thank you, Miss Miller, that's great. Lovely question. Do we have a library? And this makes me smile, because as an English teacher, you know, this is one of my favourite places to be. And we're just in the middle of putting together and updating and revamping our library. So by the time you get to us, it's going to be even more perfect than it is already. So we all love a library, okay? Reading and literacy is so important to us. We celebrate lots of things to do with literacy. We've just had our World Book Day, where we just had some amazing entries. What sorts of things, girls, did you do to celebrate World Book Day? Alexa?
I think I was trying to finish reading, I think, 2 of my books. I had a book called This Lie Will Kill You.
Oh, okay.
That's before Christmas, and another book is similar to it, and I love that book, and it was basically based off that book, so I wanted to read it.
Wonderful. Did you do anything, Stella?
Well, I read a book from my favourite author, David Walliams.
Yeah.
I read the Rat Burger.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. And my class, my English, because I teach English, my class came up with some amazing things. We had a bit of a pick and mix. So we had some students that were reading and sharing their reading stories. We had some students that were listening to podcasts and relaying those. We had quite a few students decorating a potato into their favourite book character, and we even had a few dress up, because actually if we were in school we would have been dressing up, you would have all been dressing up, and staff too. So those are the sorts of things, just to try and make sure that our love of reading is shared with everybody. Fantastic. Okay, so we haven't got too many more questions sort of coming in, so I'm going to ask the girls about their favourite subjects this year. So what's been your favourite? Alexa's going to be under pressure now because I teach her, so she knows she's going to have to say English. But what about you, Stella? What's been your favourite subject? I think I can guess, but if you want to share that, could you tell us why?
So my favourites are like in the art section, so like art, music and performing arts. Mainly because I absolutely love doing art. It's like my favourite thing ever. And then music's really calming and helps you like calm down a bit. And then drama, you can be dramatic, you can do maybe not whatever you want, but like just be yourself and just have a dramatic side to you.
Wonderful. What about you, Lex? Careful now.
Well, it's definitely English.
Obviously.
And I remember I didn't like history or religion at all when I was in primary, but now I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, so our questions are finishing up. So I really put the last two, you're going to get nervous now, ladies. I really put the last two students on the spot here because I wanted you to give one piece of advice that you would share with year sixes coming up. So if you had one piece of advice to help them feel less anxious, more excited about coming to Chepstow School, what would it be? Okay, Alexa, I'm going to start with you.
My piece of advice would be, if anything ever bothers you, just tell a friend or tell a teacher. They will help you with it. If you get lost somehow after a while, then tell a teacher, they'll help you. If you're not able to get some work done, tell a teacher, they'll help you. Basically, my piece of advice is just tell a teacher if you need anything.
Okay, that's amazing. That's wonderful advice. What about you, Stella?
So I would say talk to someone if you're having trouble with anything, or make sure to have fun as well, because not many people actually go to school and we're very lucky to actually go to school. So make sure to have fun going to school, making friends, because these are going to be basically your lifelong friends that you're always going to be with.
That is beautiful advice, actually, and that kind of taps into what some of our previous students had said as well, which is don't overthink it, enjoy it, look forward to it, be excited, because actually the reality is fun. You know, yes, there are occasions when we need to talk to people and we need to share some anxieties, but those are few and far between. Most of the time it is lots of fun. So I'm going to just sort of finish up. I thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to hand over to Miss Miller in a second, but please, if you think of any other questions, don't ever hesitate to get in touch. If you want to come and have a little look around the school, you can always make an appointment to do that. All our staff are more than willing to show you around and to answer any questions. So thank you so much. I'm just going to send you over to Miss Miller so that she can say goodbye.
Diolch yn fawr, Miss Mellon, thanks ever so much. Exactly echo what Miss Mellon has said. Thank you ever so much to Alexa and to Stella for just speaking so maturely and so honestly and just sharing with you how they found this really topsy-turvy first year. So thank you very much, girls. You've been brilliant. And again, you know, any questions, any concerns, any worries, any issues at all, please do just drop us an email, transition@chepstowschool.net, or just tweet us. We're at Primary Transit 1. It would be lovely to get to know you, and I really am very much looking forward to meeting you. Fingers crossed in the summer, and if we can't make that work, then in September, but really can't wait to meet you. Diolch yn fawr am dod. Thank you ever so much for coming, and goodbye.